Yeah, congratulations. Welcome. Competitors, welcome. Everybody that got here earned it, worked for it. That's why it's not just another day. It's today.
The Chargers began phase 3 of the offseason yesterday with the first OTA practice of 10. Basically, they're going to be installing their fundamentals in the playbook and trying to get everyone up to speed with the new culture of how Jim Harbaugh wants to do things. But they are also going to be doing some 7-on-7 and even 11-on-11 drills. So this is our first chance to really see these guys in action. There are some really exciting takeaways from the first day, specifically Ladd McConkey. It's very exciting. But remember that there are still no pads on yet. So we need to take a lot of this with a grain of salt. But still, there are some things from OTAs that are interesting and very good signs. So let me give you the full breakdown of OTAs. Now let's start off with the attendance, because this is actually voluntary, so they don't have to be there. But both Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack showed up, and this doesn't really surprise me at all because Joey Bosa was really the only one that people were concerned about because he often trains with his brother Nick Bosa in Florida at this time of the year. But he showed up to OTAs last year, and he even took a pay cut to help out Jim Harbaugh. So, you know, they both did actually. So, of course, they would both show up to OTAs and be out there with Jim Harbaugh. I mean, Jim Harbaugh, he's a player's coach, and he's proven that everywhere that he has gone. So those are two good signs for Joey Bosa already. He took the pay cut, and now he's showing up to the voluntary OTAs. But now let's get to the juicy stuff, because Justin Herbert was spreading the ball around very well. And I think that basically is like by design, because I think the Chargers don't really have a go-to guy like Keenan Allen anymore. So it's basically whoever gets open first based on Herbert's progression through his reads, that's who's going to be getting the ball. Quentin Johnston looked pretty good on his release in this route, as you can see. And then DJ Chark, that's number 9. He ran that same route release just after him. If I slow it down, you can see that Quentin Johnston actually runs it way quicker, and he has built up speed, you know, faster than DJ Chark did. And DJ Chark is a 4.340 guy. Of course, this is just one route and one release that we saw, but it looks like, you know, Quentin Johnston, he is putting the work in. And if you guys remember, I made a full video about whether Quentin Johnston is a bust or not. And listen, last year he showed the ability to have a quick release like that in game action. So we might actually see him have a big improvement this season, just like Jim Harbaugh and Joe Hortiz are hoping for. And I don't want to put too much stock into these two clips of these two guys, but when you compare their releases side by side, Quentin Johnston looks a lot quicker than DJ Chark. And DJ Chark, man, he's an extremely good athlete, a 4.3 guy. It's pretty impressive. I think a better comparison would have been seeing Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston side by side in that route release, because, you know, Ladd McConkey is the fastest and quickest wide receiver on this roster, and the reports are that he showed off his quickness while also establishing a nice rapport with Justin Herbert already, because he caught several passes from him in the team drills. And then also Daniel Popper of The Athletic said that Ladd McConkey played mostly in the slot in the team drills, but he had a great day, including an explosive pass right up the seam. And I wish there was footage of that, but I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of that in the next few months. I'm glad that Ladd McConkey is getting all of those targets and hauling them in, because he's the best route runner on this team, and he's going to have to fill that Keenan Allen role of being Justin Herbert's security blanket. And we got a bunch of good footage of Justin Herbert throwing it to guys like Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey. I thought it was funny that Ladd McConkey, he's like a 4.3 guy, right? He's a blazer. That's a lot different than what Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were. Those were like 4.540 guys. So Justin Herbert, he even threw the ball behind Ladd McConkey at one point, and he was able to catch the ball. But I just thought it was funny that, you know, he's going to have to recalibrate a little bit and lead the ball way farther out ahead of Ladd McConkey, because he's a blazer. You know, Justin Herbert is throwing to much faster wide receivers this year, so he's going to have to recalibrate a little bit in training camp when throwing to guys like DJ Chark and Ladd McConkey. So Ladd McConkey, he's looking really good so far, but what is not really good is that Junior Colson left OTAs after about 40 minutes and walked off the field with the trainers. Oh my gosh. I hope that this is nothing serious, because, you know, Junior Colson, he doesn't have an injury history. So this is kind of like out of the blue for him. Ben Herbert, you know, he can only do so much to prevent injuries, but this is a violent sport at the end of the day. And also guys, they can just like roll their ankle or plant their foot wrong and have freak injuries. I don't think this is anything too serious though, because the reports are not that he's limping off the field or something. I think they probably just wanted to take him away out of caution of like aggravating something that was irritating him that might become an injury. At least that is my hope. But, we just don't know right now. But what we do know right now is the starting offensive line combination. And it went like this: Rashawn Slater, Zion Johnson, Bradley Bozeman, Jamari Sawyer, and Trey Pipkins. Now, Daniel Popper, again from The Athletic, he reported that after only 3 reps, they started to rotate Joe Alt in at right tackle. And then when he was in there, Trey Pipkins slid into the right guard spot. So this is kind of exactly what we thought. There's going to be a battle between Jamari Sawyer and Trey Pipkins for that starting right guard spot. But I thought it was interesting that Joe Alt was not starting right away. I don't think that we should look like too much into this because I'm very certain that he's going to be starting at right tackle. But maybe, I don't know, they just want him to earn that job once they put the pads on. Either way, Joe Alt, by the season opener, is going to start at right tackle, whether he has to earn that job through training camp or not. Joe Alt also got some action against Khalil Mack in team drills. But again, the pads, they are not on, so the trench play, you can't really take away much of anything right now, honestly, other than like who is starting and stuff like that. But you can take away my first time deposit offer from Underdog. You can get a special pick'em and up to $250 in bonus cash. You just click my link in the description and use my code McLean. That is MACLANE. That is a big bonus that you can get. I don't know how long that they're going to be doing that offer, but if you want to stock up for fantasy football, if you use my code, it helps me out so much, and I really do greatly appreciate it. I can also appreciate that Jim Harbaugh does things differently, and at OTAs there was no music playing at all. Now this may seem like a weird thing to talk about, but with every other coach and like every other practice, there usually is music playing overhead just for the sake of like having some good music in the background. But Jim Harbaugh not playing any music, that is sending a message to this team that he means business and he doesn't want the practices to have any sort of distraction. It may be a little less fun without the music, but I think Jim Harbaugh's personality more than makes up for the lack of music because he's such a weird and funny guy. Even like, did you guys see the Denzel Perriman interview? He even said that Jim Harbaugh reminded him of Will Ferrell, which I can kind of see that. But anyways, the last 10 minutes of the practice yesterday were all focused on conditioning. So Ben Herbert basically got the last 10 minutes of practice. And this tells me 2 things. Firstly, that they're allowing Ben Herbert to take time away from practice because they strongly believe that his program will benefit the players that much. And secondly, that they want these guys to be in as good of shape as possible because that is the brand of football that they're going to run. Run the ball down the other team's throat and break their will. They're trying to establish that mindset right now in OTAs. And now let's talk about the mindset of Asante Samuel Jr. because he was also balling out in this first practice, just like Lad McConkey was. He was starting alongside Kristian Fulton, and they were both able to get interceptions. Asante Samuel Jr., we talked about him yesterday, man, entering the final year of his rookie contract, and he's off to a great start so far by making some good plays in team drills. But this is a make or break year for Asante, and he knows that this season is going to determine how like the rest of his NFL career pans out. He seems to have come into the season very determined and ready to go with a great mindset, and I can't wait to see him this season. And I actually made a full video about Asante and the other cornerbacks, and I told you why this year is so important for each one of them.